Guys, thank you so much for coming. So, hello, we are live now. So, we are here to talk about carpentry course with TAFE Queensland. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Steven, to come. So, my name is Gabriela. I work in Information Planet in Brisbane. Please, Jennifer, you can introduce yourself. Just a little bit about TAFE.
So I'm Jennifer Diaz and I work at TAFE Queensland in the international department. So I mainly look after Latin American students and also some European countries. And I'm here today with Stephen Tucker, who is one of our experienced teachers at TAFE Queensland at Skills Tech. But I think it's better for you to introduce yourself.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, as Jennifer said, my name's Steve Tucker. I'm a leading vocational teacher at Acacia Ridge campus of Skills Tech Australia, TAFE. I'm a very lucky person. I've been in the industry for 17 years on the tools. I've now been teaching in TAFE for 17 years. I got my start in the industry at TAFE as a 15-year-old boy when I left school. I did a TAFE course which led me to an apprenticeship in carpentry. So half my working life I've been a carpenter, half my working life I've been a teacher, and loved every minute of it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. So guys, we will talk with TAFE the first 30 minutes of the live, and after that Juliana from 7 Migration is going to talk with us about visa, about postgraduate visa, so everything what included carpentry course. Okay? So just introduce a little bit about Information Planet. We are in the industry more than 20 years. We have more than 50 offices around the world. Here in Australia, we have offices here in Brisbane, Gold Coast, in Adelaide, Perth, Sydney. We have 2 offices. So, yeah, we have a lot of experience actually. Okay, so, another thing, we are going to start to talk about carpentry, and the end of the live, the end of the 30 minutes, we can open for questions, okay? If you guys would like to ask something for TAFE, please feel free in the end of the 30 minutes, okay? So, good. Jennifer, let's start. So, okay. I don't know, maybe you can talk a little bit more about TAFE, about the different course.
Yeah.
About the
So TAFE Queensland is a government institution here in Australia. So we are the largest provider in Queensland. I have to say that is different. TAFE Queensland is different than other states. It's just a common question that I get. So we are different than TAFE New South Wales or TAFE South Australia. So it's just TAFE Queensland itself. Which is an institution that has more than 130 years of experience. We have around 50 campuses here in Queensland, so it's definitely the largest provider in the state. We got plenty of experience, and another important thing that we have is like really good connections in different industries. So TAFE Queensland is very focused on hands-on practice courses, so very focused on vocational courses. But we still offer a few bachelor programs, only one for international students, but most of our courses are vocational courses between certificates up to advanced diploma and a bachelor degree as well. So different options, different areas, including hospitality, trade programs like automotive, carpentry, even engineering programs. We have courses in beauty, we have courses in business, we have courses in aviation industry. So if you're looking for any area, animal studies, horticulture, just come to TAFE Queensland because I'm pretty sure we will have an option for you.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Okay, good. So let's start with a question.
Yeah.
What the carpenter person does? What is the activities?
Well, ideally, a carpenter goes out, builds your homes. In the city, the multi-storey buildings, concrete, steel, timber, aluminium offices, bank office spaces like this. So a carpenter in Australia has such a broad variety of options available to them, which also broadens their horizons work-wise. Always lots of work. In the course, we focus on skills. Okay, so a lot of people come to us with very minor skills if they haven't been in a trade back in their home country or previous to the course. So we focus a lot on skills working with tools, skills working with timber, steel, concrete, all those sorts of things. So yeah, it's a very hands-on course, yes.
And how long it takes to graduate in this course? It is a Certificate 3 in Carpentry,
It's
right?
correct.
Okay.
Yep, so Certificate 3 in Carpentry. It's a 2-year course, so that's a full-time study load for 2 years. After that 2 years, you've reached the qualification of a Certificate 3 holder, so you'll have the units for a Certificate 3 carpenter. Depending on your life's journey after that, whether you're returning to your own country with those skills, or you can stay in Australia and work full-time in a building company for another 1,700 hours, which then leads you on to other things visa-wise and so forth for a longer-term stay in Australia.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. Nice.
Yep.
So, okay, what are the job outcomes? What type of job the carpenter can get?
Job outcomes. Well, as I said, you can go build a home, so you're a carpenter, you go build people's homes. You can go into civil works, you can be building hospitals, you can be doing site drainage, all sorts of things, form work. It is such a wide variety of jobs. If you see a building, anything to do with a building, a carpenter is involved. It's some people go away, we've had students go away and start their own businesses, furniture making businesses, carpentry businesses, renovations, extensions. So if your old home is run down and you like where you live, you like your neighbours and everything like that, we'll go through and we will renovate your home, make it new again, extend as your family grows. If you find your house is too small, carpenters will do extensions, put on extra rooms, all sorts of things.
Stephen, what about job opportunities here in Australia for students that complete the program or even before they complete the course?
Well, personally, my students, I try and get them involved in the construction industry as soon as I can. There's no issue with that. There always seems to be plenty of work. At the moment, we have federal government and state government grants to keep the building industry buoyant due to the COVID issues and things like that. So at the moment, there is a lot of work around. We don't have enough carpenters. There's talk that we are about, over the next 5 years, 70,000 jobs short in construction in Australia.
Awesome.
So I generally find that those students who come into the course and immediately go out seeking work in the industry, they find work in the industry. My last group of students who finished middle of the year last year, every one of those guys is working full-time in industry, and some of those people were working with those employers while doing the course. So if we're going to go and be carpenters, let's look like a carpenter, dress like a carpenter, and go and be a carpenter.
Awesome.
Yes.
So the person needs to have any experience to start the course or not?
No experience required in the industry. We do have some people come in with industry experience. They might have already been in Australia on a working visa or something like that. So they've already been in construction. So they come into the course with some skills and knowledge already. But most, they come in as whatever they were back at home. You know, we have engineers, airline pilots, vegetable wholesalers, computer programmers, you name it, we've got it in our classroom, which makes it so exciting because we're learning off them as well.
Different thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and talk about the requirements. Jennifer, please, what the person needs to have to start the course.
Absolutely. So for a student applying for a carpentry program, we basically ask for two main requirements. The first one is academics. So it's the minimum completion of year 10 or the equivalent. So for Brazilian students, it will be the ensino médio, or anything higher than that will be more than fine. So most of the countries will be the completion of high school, basically. The second requirement is English, because they need to be able to communicate. So the English requirement is an academic IELTS 5.5 with no band score less than 5.0. It can be actually met through previous studies in Australia. So if you are studying in Australia in an English school, they might be one of our ELICOS partner. So TAFE Queensland works with different English schools here in Australia. So when you complete English courses, academic courses, you might be able to meet the entry requirements. As a second option, if you have completed another vocational course, Certificate 3 or higher, it will be equivalent to 5.5 when you have done, when the course is a minimum of 6 months for the total duration of the program, and you have to provide the certificate of completion of that program. Mm-hmm. We have also another exams available, so if you don't have IELTS, but you have PTE, Cambridge, TOEFL, or even at TAFE, we have an option that we call it ISLPR, because it's an official exam that you can take at TAFE Queensland. It will have a fee because it's an official test, but that can show the evidence of your English requirement. Mm-hmm. So those two are the main requirements. If you're in Australia, definitely it's important for us to know what you have been doing. So previous confirmation of enrollments, previous certificate or courses you have completed. So those are just the main requirements. Of course, your passport and the copy of your visa. Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. How does student know if it is the right course for, like, how can I know? If I choose the course, how can I know? Maybe I would like to do a carpenter course.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. If you like the outdoors, carpentry is an awesome job. If you like being in a different workplace every couple of days, every couple of weeks, carpentry is
no
you.
routine.
There's very little routine depending on what aspect of the industry you're in. So you could be working in the heart of Brisbane today. You could be working at the Gold Coast next week. You could be working at the North Coast. You could be working in the bush, out in the outback, our great outback. Okay, it's just one of those industries where it can take you anywhere. It really can. Yeah.
Okay.
If you like the outdoors, it's the job for you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So what is the structure of the course? Like how many days the student needs to go to the class?
Yep, well the course runs full time, so it's 2 years, 3 days a week, so depending on your intake it could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on campus, it could be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on campus, which leaves you 4 days of the week to enjoy our country. It's 7 hours a day on campus, so 7:30 in the morning. Well, that's on my campus, 7:30 in the morning till 3:15 in the afternoon. Okay. That might vary from campus to campus. But full-time, 3 days a week for 2 years. Every 10 weeks, we have 2 weeks of holiday. So our term lasts 10 weeks, and we have 4 terms a year. So 10 weeks, 2 weeks holiday, 10 weeks, 2 weeks holiday. Assessments, well, assessments we do theoretical training and practical training. So theory is about 1/3 of the course, practical demonstrations, observations and assessments are about 2/3 of the course. So theory, we computer-based learning online, but in saying that you have a teacher in the classroom with you for that 7 hours a day. Exams are either paper-based or online, just depends on the preference of the teacher. And as far as the practical assessments go, it's all out in the workshop. Our practical assessments, we work on life-size tasks. So if you're learning to hang a door and doing an assessment on a door, it's a full-size door like you have walking into your bedroom at home. It's not some little model. So everything we do, we try and make it as lifelike as possible.
Okay.
Absolutely lifelike. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So, and Steven, after you start the course, how long you can start to work in the in the field? Like
Straight away.
yeah, wow.
Tomorrow. and that's what it's like in our industry, especially at the moment, where if you are keen and you walk onto a job site and you introduce yourself to an employer, or you pick up the phone and you are keen and willing to work, people are finding work. So, you know, on the days they're not on campus working with me, they can be out in industry earning their money to pay their rent, to pay their fuel, to buy their groceries, and that's building a rapport with people in the industry, with people from other nationalities in the industry, us Australians. They're building a rapport with an employer and other tradespeople from other industries. So, and as I say, we have some people already working in industry that come to us starting the course, and their job already is in industry. So it helps with the course. Their industry work relates to the course relates to their industry work, and they go hand in hand and help, making the course much easier. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Now that you asked, sorry about that, Gabby, that you mentioned that, how does it work? Because I believe the course has got vocational placement.
Yes.
So how does the vocational placement work at TAFE Queensland for Carpentry program?
Well, in my campus, it's a little bit different at each campus, but in my campus, so as I said, we have 4 terms per year. We do 1 term of vocational placement every year, so that's 10 weeks straight, 3 days a week, out on-site vocational placement. Now, my preference is that because you build an association with that employer, that might turn into a full-time job at the end of the course. It can turn into part-time work on those other days of the week when you're not studying at TAFE. So, if vocational placement was 1 day a week, like in some other areas and providers and things like, it's almost a guarantee that the student will go to work and spend all day on a broom or a shovel. But with 3 days a week solid for 10 weeks straight, you're getting to prove yourself, you know, prove your capabilities, prove your work ethic, and it builds trust. And I think that's the best way to do it. Quite often it's very common that at the end of a vocational placement, our students stay with that employer, and then that employer also wants them back for their next vocational placement. It's absolutely crucial, the vocational placement and the amount of time you spend on a job. So that's 400 hours in the whole course is spent on site through vocational placement. Yep.
Okay, good.
Yes.
What about the intakes, Jennifer?
Yep.
For the next year,
So
when
we
the students can
usually
start the course, because we say intake, but sometimes
that's
they
right.
don't understand. But when the student can start the course, what
So-
month?
Yeah, we usually have 2 options to start the program per year. Are usually at the end of January and in the middle of July. So for 2021, most of the campuses will start on the 25th of January, and the second intake will be on the 12th of July. For Brisbane campus, the first intake will be on the 8th of February, but again, it's just like 2 weeks difference, but mainly at the beginning of the year and in the middle of the year.
Okay, good. And what campus we have
Yes.
the carpentry course?
We have 4 options for that, so thank you for asking. We have definitely Brisbane, which is the biggest campus in terms of carpentry course. We have a campus in Ashmore, in Gold Coast. We have an option in Sunshine Coast at Nambour, really close to the zoo, and we also have the course at Bundaberg. So 4 options, 3 of them are regional, but as I said before, Brisbane is the biggest one, so really good. They also have like parking spots available if the students just want to drive there, that will be easier. Yeah.
Okay, good. And you are a teacher here in Brisbane, right?
Yes.
Guys,
Yes.
pay attention, please.
I've been teaching in Brisbane for 17 years,
Wow.
and yeah, love it. Apprentices and international students, that's my core work, and I must say my internationals are the favourite.
Yeah, good to know.
It's great. It's a great job. It's a great job meeting great people. And just this week, I went to a graduation this week with a class that I had only for one term while a teacher was away. And so 10 weeks with those people, 30 days, but the rapport you build with them is really, really special, you know, and they're off now into the big wide world, and they've completed their course, and I know at least 80% of that class are already working in industry.
Awesome.
Yep. So
good.
it's good.
Nice.
Yes.
And what are the mix of nationalities that you guys have in the class? I think that's a good question.
It's very mixed. It's very mixed. We have some Brazilians. We've got some Mexicans. We have some French. I have a German at the moment. Always have a couple of people from either Korea, China.
That's right. I see students from the UK quite often, that some of them.
Yes. Yep. So. No, a couple. I've got an Indian at the moment. AJ, he's a legend. Yes. So yeah, we get a really good mix. I had a class once with 32 students in it, and there was myself and another teacher, and we had 16 nationalities.
Wow.
It was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Okay, so we have more 10 minutes. Let's start to have a look if we have some questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
guys, if you have some questions, please feel free to ask us.
Something I want to mention, now that we are waiting for the questions. TAFE Queensland is actually having a really good deposit or payment structure at the moment, which is making it more flexible for students to start with us. Due to COVID, definitely. So if a student want to confirm the course, so after we assess the application, they get the offer letter with just a $1,000 deposit. We can confirm the enrollment. So I know it used to be a bit harder before, but due to COVID, it's a really good chance for them to enroll. We split the remaining payment of the first semester. So the course itself is in total $22,800 for 4 semesters, so 2 years, so $5,700 per semester. Okay, which is less than 1,000 per month. So I think students definitely can make it, and especially right now with the payment option, I think it makes it really easy for students to get into that program with a very like a quality provider, and also a lot of job opportunities during and after the completion of the course.
Just on that as well, and it's a really tricky time in the world at the moment, no matter where you are. It's a very tricky time, and we see it daily with our students. They've got their family and friends back home. TAFE Queensland, we have counselling services. We have so many services available to the students that if they're struggling in some form of their life or something like that, or they have other issues, we have all those services to help our students, and those services are free to our students. They're just the services we provide to try and make our students feel at home, feel safe, and especially at this time. Yep.
Really good to say that, because nowadays it's really important to have some.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Guys, we have some questions here, so let's start. Okay, Dani and Sarah, the same question actually. So, can I change the campus if I want to? Yeah, as soon as I started the course.
Right, so students can change from one campus to another. Yes, it is possible, but they must complete at least 6 months on each campus. I have to say something important, which is it also depends on availability. So I just have to mention campus, Ashmore campus, Gold Coast, is full for January intake. So if a person starts in Brisbane and want to change like the second semester next year, we might not be able to do that because we don't have spots available in Gold Coast campus, as an example. So, and actually, we always recommend the student to stay for the whole course in the same campus, because even though it's the same school, the same course, depending on the campus itself, the course schedule could change a little bit in between campuses. Vocational placement, if the person already found an employee that is actually providing the vocational placement in Brisbane, let's say, and then you move to Sunshine Coast or any other campus, the person might need to find another provider, another employee. So it is possible. Again, it's not suggested as the best option because they could end up actually having an extra semester sometimes if they haven't done some of the work required in the second campus. So it is possible, but again, it might have a little bit of issue in between the changes.
Actually, we have to check the spots from the new campus, if the subject is the same, because sometimes it can change a little bit depending on the state, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
A state matters, so just in case, so we can change in between campuses in Queensland. Again, it's just Safe Queensland. If a person asks if they can change to New South Wales, to Carpentry program, I would say it's a change, like changing providers. It's not even the course itself, it will be changing providers. So definitely it's good to make a decision about the location itself where you want to be before you enroll. Because it's not the same to change in Queensland and moving to another state will be different.
Okay, guys, let's choose the campus before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, good question. Is it common women do this course?
Ooh.
It is. We've had a course finish, another class. We're finishing 3 groups up, so about 30 people at present. One of those classes had a young lady from Korea in it. I had 2 years ago, we had a class with a Korean lady and an English lady in it.
This one with the dreads as well, I've seen it.
Yes, I think she was from Canada.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
Canada,
yeah,
I think.
Yes.
Yes.
As well.
So
For a
2
girl.
teachers. 2 female teachers we got.
we had 2 female teachers. One of them has gone to work at another campus, but we still have 1 female teacher on our campus. I don't see her going anywhere. She's been doing it a long time like me, so yes. But yeah, we do have young ladies and join the course, and they do very well. They bring a whole different dynamic to the course. They really do.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. So, does TAFE helps the students to find a place to do the work placement? If yes, is it paid?
Yes, we have a service to find your vocational placement for you. My preference again is, and it's about getting people out and knowing people and meeting people, but I always, to my classes, I say, let's go out and find your own vocational placement, which makes people walk onto a job site, introduce themselves, get a personal relationship right from the start. Plus what that does, hopefully it allows them to stay in their area where they live so that the travel is less to their vocational placement. But if they can't find their own vocational placement, we have a service that finds your vocational placement. I think we've got 80 builders around Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast on our books that we can place our students with. So there's never an issue there. Find a placement for them, that's fine. Yep.
Cool.
But
So,
is it paid?
Is it
yeah.
paid? Fingers in my ears. No, it is not paid. It is not paid. But what I will say is I've had students go and do their vocational placement. They've been offered a job afterwards, and the employer has been very grateful for their services, has felt that it's unfair to have somebody there for free. So what they've done is they've given them some tools. As a payment at the end. They've given them some tools.
Next question actually here, guys.
Yes, which is really good. So, you know, that student leaves their vocational placement with some tools to go out, do some more work, go to another employer, or if they're staying with that employer's going, well, I've given you the tools to do your job. And there is no payment, but we find that a lot of the Australian employers appreciate what our international students are going through.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, let me see here if you have it. We have one more question here. What's the difference between carpentry and joiner?
So carpentry is building big things. Okay, so joiner is usually building like your kitchen cabinets, office furniture, might be desks in offices, you know, your front counters at banks and all those sorts of things. So joinery, cabinet making, those sorts of things is more about furniture making. Carpentry, like, let's face it, us carpenters, if we can build houses, we can make furniture too. But honestly, that's the skills we acquire over years and dealing with other trades as well. We learn these skills and knowledge that we can transfer across a lot of trades in the industry. So anything big, dirty, hot, that's your carpenter's job. And but we branch across so much of the industry. That's the good part of the job. You're never bored if you want to learn. You're never bored if you want to learn.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see, guys, if we have any more questions. And let me see if Juliana is here already. Not yet. Okay, let's keep the questions. Okay. Okay, so we don't have more questions. If you guys would like to talk something more, tell something more, please feel free.
Probably just from my point of view, I find that Australian employers are very receptive to the international students because they appreciate the fact that our international students have been on a journey, and it's a journey of discovering themselves, but it's a journey of discovering new things, so which makes international students very open-minded. They find that they're hard workers, so their work ethic is great. Not to say that Australians are lazy or anything like that, but it also is a thing about age. Okay, a lot of the international students come to us, well, as we mentioned, potentially 18 at the youngest, but most of our students are in their mid-20s to mid-30s. So they have responsibilities, they know how the world works. So an employer takes those people on going, I know this person will show up tomorrow, you know, and that's what I'm finding, and I find that so often. I've had international students go on site, and employers have come back and said, is there another one we can use, because we'd rather employ an international student than put on an apprentice, which is somebody from school and that sort of thing. Just because they've got work ethic, they've learnt to work, they know what it takes, they've got responsibilities, you know. So the work is here if you want the work. Yes.
I hear it as a gossip that carpenters get really are very well paid. How true is it?
Well, again, depends on your boss. But no, we have an award wage system. We have an award wage system where we have a minimum wage for a carpenter. It's a stable wage. Depending on how you're employed with that person, you could be employed on hourly rate. You could be employed on contract rate. You could be employed on wages. So there's a couple of different wage options, so to speak. But it's a good wage. It's a very good wage. If you want to work hard, you'll get paid well. And there's rewards outside the pay, because there's so much that you can go and do yourself You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of my students are out there doing their own little jobs at the moment and things like that. Yeah, so, and that's just the skills they've learned, yeah. Yep.
Guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Steven, for coming. Jennifer, it's a pleasure for us work with you guys. So, Juliana, let me try to put her here. So, feel free to stay with us, okay? Ju, let's start here. Okay. Waiting for 7 migration.
Hello, guys.
Hi, Ju. How are you?
I'm good. I'm learning so much with this session. I hope you guys, record the live. Just, save that on Insta so the students can watch that later because, yeah, it's so important. You cannot imagine how useful the information was. I'm saying for myself, I'm sure that the students will also learn a lot. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you so much, Ju. Thank you for coming. Please tell us about you, about your job. Let's start on it.
I just hope, I'm Juliana, I'm one of the migration agents of 7 Migration. I joined the team last year and I've been selling your courses, a lot. Not that I sell courses, but I send, a lot of students to you. It's the same as selling, not getting commission, but just selling. No, just kidding, guys. Sorry. I'm like that, I'm always making some jokes. Yeah, but the information was really useful. I hope the information that I can give is as useful as yours. But yeah, definitely, as a migration agent, I can say that it's still one of the best pathways that the students can have or can follow when you think about migrating to Australia nowadays. Steven was just saying about, what they said in the federal budget, a lot of investments coming in the construction industry. My husband actually studied at TAFE Ashmore long time ago.
Good to hear that.
Long time ago, he loved the course. He's a metal fabricator. He's a boil maker. So, and yesterday he was saying, I want to be, a TAFE teacher. I was like, okay, try to be, But yeah, we have a very good life. It's not the same profession, of course, but we can compare both. And we have like a very good life. As you guys said, the wages, they're quite good. He works in big construction, sites as the casino here in Sydney. I'm in Sydney. Yeah, so definitely still in one of the best pathways, no doubt about it. So yeah, I don't know if you have some questions, Gabi. So
yes, I have so many questions actually. So, but tell us a little bit more about 7 migration.
I think you guys all know 7. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, we've been in the market. Yeah, we've been in the market for a while now. And yeah, of course, we do have a lot of Brazilian clients, not just Brazilians, but we have a lot of Brazilian clients. We assist in all types of visas except students that I live with Information Planet. And yeah, so that's what we do. We do consultations. We discuss with them what they want, in their lives and the best pathways, and we discuss about courses. We suggest, the specific course they need to study to meet the requirements so they can, apply for a graduate visa. We're going to discuss about that, soon. Yeah, but so that's what we do. We find solutions. So, we try to find solutions in terms of, suggesting the best pathways to get to the permanent residency.
Okay, cool, Ju. And you guys are based in Sydney?
Sydney, I'm in Sydney, so we have the head office in Perth and also an office in Adelaide, yes.
Okay, good. All right, so Ju, the most common ways of migrating to Australia.
Yeah.
Could you please tell us?
Wow, the most common ways. If you think about, let's focus on what we discussed about carpentry. Yeah, but basically we do have, that's the way that I like to explain. I know that, the migration agents, they explain things differently, but that's the way that I like to explain. We do have, I like to say that we have the sponsored visas where, of course, you rely on a company to have a visa. to be sponsored, to have a visa. And also we do have the skilled visas, or, you can say the points tested visas, the 189, the 189, the 190, and the 491. As I said, the sponsor, you rely on a company. So it really depends on finding a job and, finding a company which is willing to sponsor this person to work in the company. And then you're going to be able to work only in the company for a certain period of time. And that is, of course, a PR pathway if you consider, being sponsored as a carpenter specifically. That's the topic today. With the skilled migration, it doesn't rely on companies. It does not rely on, sponsorships and even on employment or work experience. However, a lot of skills assessment, which is a requirement to apply for a skilled visa, then, the work experience will be mandatory. So, it's all linked, but basically sponsor companies, skilled visas or points tested visas is based on the candidate's profile.
Okay, good. So, Ju, what I mean is, if I study carpentry, I can migrate to Australia, right?
Do you want to get answers like this, huh? Okay, look, I'd love to say yes. What I can say, you have a very good pathway to try to migrate. The thing is, I cannot, as a migration agent and knowing the challenges that, the applicants may face in finding a company or even to achieve the points required, the minimum points required on a points tested visa. I cannot say that, the person will get to the PR because that's beyond my control. But what I can say is that a lot of, PR pathways will involve studying in Australia. I can say 70 to 80% of the strategies that I discuss with my clients, that will include at certain stage studying in Australia. So carpentry within the construction industry, it's one of the occupations that can lead, the applicants to a very good pathway to apply for a PR visa. And when I say PR, again, we have, PRs based on a sponsor and PRs based on a points tested visa. So basically, if you want to use the carpentry as an example of a good strategy, that will normally include 2 years of studies. And as far as I know, the TAFE course is 104 weeks, which means 2 years. So the person will need to study a 2 years certificate 3 at least in carpentry. If the course duration is not as long as the TAFE course, meaning less than 92 weeks, then the person may need to complete another qualification, which is the certificate 4 in building and construction. We don't recommend diploma, but the certificate 4 instead. And the combination of studying a certificate 3 plus completing 2 years of studies in Australia, it will lead, if, of course, carpenters continue to be in the national, the federal demand list in Australia, the medium and long-term list, that will lead the applicant to a potential graduate visa, the 485, which is just a visa, to give them the option of working full-time in Australia without studying. And then
1 year and a half visa, right?
1 year and a half, yeah. So the graduate visa has 2 streams. One of the streams is the post-study for those studying higher education. That's not the stream that we are talking about today. The other stream is the graduate work, which is 18 months visa. Plus, a little bit of time that they stay in the bridging visa waiting for a decision to come to be made in the graduate visa. So the students will have, for those starting in the carpentry, career, for those without experience, they will have to complete 1 year of full-time work experience after the course. And then we're going to start talking. So basically that's the minimum, that they will need, I would say, in order to have a PR pathway.
Okay, good.
Tell me, go.
1 year and a half postgraduate visa, 485. Yeah. Okay, and there are some stages that the person needs to complete, right?
Yeah.
to
So
finish?
basically during the course, in order to, so the step-by-step would be study the 2 years course, either going to be just a certificate 3 of 2 years or certificate 3 in carpentry plus certificate 4 in commercial, in beauty and construction. My God, I was just about to say commercial cookery. So used to that.
Oh my
Gosh,
God.
I'm sorry. Sorry. So basically the certificate 3 in carpentry plus the certificate 4 in beauty and construction. And then completing the 2 years course, the person will, if the person completes at least 360 hours of vocational placement, work placement, which is part of the course, or if the person, is already working as a carpenter during the course, if the person completes 360 hours of work, then the person will be will be eligible to apply for a provisional skills assessment. As the name says, is just a skills assessment for a provisional visa. And the provisional visa would be the graduate visa, the 485. So the person will study, complete the 360 hours, will be able to apply for a provisional skills assessment with the assessing authority, Trades Recognition Australia, the TRA. And with that being done, the person will be eligible to apply for a graduate visa via the graduate work stream, which is the 18 months stream. During the 18 months, the person will be, will have to complete it's 1,725 hours, something like that. It's basically 1 year work experience full time as a carpenter to be able, to be eligible to complete the skills assessment, meaning, to obtain a full skills assessment, and then having the full skills assessment, a skilled visa or a points tested visa will be in the cards. But of course, it will depend on other factors as well. So it is, a very straightforward pathway. The only problem that we have is that sometimes, my clients, they believe it's just a matter of studying and not working, and they will get the PR. So there are no guarantees about getting the PR. The first, it's very important to say that. It depends on what you're going to do with your time, during your time here in Australia. And also, if you don't get a job within the industry, then you're not going to be able to meet all of the requirements and, moving forward with the PR strategy. But it's a very straightforward strategy, even for those that never worked as a carpenter in their lives.
Okay. Ju, another question. Is there a difference between studying a regional area or in the major cities?
Yes, that is. So basically, carpenters, they are on demand in Australia. So they are on a medium and long-term skilled occupation list, which means that the location is not as important as if, if what another type of course or another profession where the demand is not national, but like a local, state or regional demand. What I'm trying to say is, if you study in the big cities, like study on what we call non-regional areas, which is basically Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, you're still going to have a pathway, but it might be a little bit harder. So you definitely benefit in studying, in the regional areas, because you're going to get more points. So you're going to get, score extra points for studying in regional, Australia. And you might be also eligible to try, a points tested visa, but the regional one. So I cannot say that if the person do not study in regional areas, that the person will not be eligible to try the skilled regional visa, which is the 491, because I'll be lying. Some clients, they will be able to do that even without studying in the regional areas. But in regards of points, at least the 5 extra points for a study in regional area, that will definitely be, a plus.
Okay, cool. Ju, is a job ready program available for this course?
Yeah, what I explained, because I jumped, I think your questions, Nagabi, but basically the job ready program is the full skills assessment that I was talking about.
Okay.
So the job ready program is just the full skills assessment. The thing is, for the visas that the skills assessment is mandatory, we do have with this assessing authority, the TRA, 3 types of assessment. Actually, we have 4 types of assessment. For those starting, in this career, the job ready program will be the easiest way, of obtaining the full skills assessment, which is required for some visas. So the job ready program has 4 steps. The first one is the provisional skills assessment, which is based on the 360 hours of work during the course. And that's mandatory. The person needs to obtain the provisional skills assessment to have a 485 visa, graduate visa approved. Sometimes you can lodge the provisional skills assessment, lodge the visa only with the evidence of lodgement of the skills assessment. But once, the case is allocated to a case officer, the 485 process, then, they will ask for the result, the positive assessment, and you give the positive assessment and they will approve the visa. So the step 1 of the job ready program is basically, the 360 hours plus the course. And then once you get the graduate visa, you have enough time during the graduate visa to complete the steps 2, 3, and 4, which is basically the step 2, 1 year of full-time work experience. Step 3 is a technical interview or a practical assessment. And the step 4 is just, the final assessment, combining everything.
Okay, good. And Ju, how good should be my English to apply?
Then I get to what, I didn't get his name in the beginning of the live, but I think it's Steven.
Yes,
is that correct? Yeah. So, so I totally, agree with what he said. It's very rare not to, it's very rare to have a client studying carpentry without being working as such. So it's very easy to find a job in the construction industry in general, I would say. I know that sometimes, they start working, as a labor and then they move into the carpenter position. So that's very common. When you think the PR pathways, we have a pathway via the sponsored visas, as I said, and one pathway, via the points tested visas. The PR pathway via sponsor, the English is not as high as if you think about the points tested visas, because in order to be sponsored by a company, the English requirement is even lower than the English requirement on a graduate visa. So the graduate visa asks for an overall 6, minimum 5 in each band. Let's just use the IELTS as, as an example. And for the sponsored visa, the 482, the temporary sponsorship, the requirement for carpenters is minimum 5 in each. So it's lower than the graduate visa requirement, which means that 5 and 6 is not a, super hard to achieve. Of course, I understand it's just about the test, but it's not as hard as, as achieving 7 or 8 to have enough points to try the points tested visas. So to have, I explain about the skills assessment, but if you are sponsored, then the skills assessment is not required. The job ready program is not a requirement of the 482 visa, but instead, you're going to have to complete 2 years of full-time work experience to be sponsored. So in one pathway, we have, the score and what you need to achieve and the competition and the skills assessment. On the other hand, we're going to have the sponsor. You need to find a company, you need to find a job. The English is not as, as high as the points tested visas, but you need 2 years of full-time work experience.
Okay, good. 2
So
years, right?
It depends on the pathway.
Okay. So the next question would be about the packages, Certificate 3 and 34 in building construction. You already told us about it. You can package it and we cannot package it depending of the length of the course of the school, actually, right? But at least to apply for 485, 92 weeks, of course, right?
Yes. So the only thing that I wanna add is what I said. I briefly said about the diploma and certificate 4. So the best combination is certificate 3 in carpentry and certificate 4 in building and construction. I've seen a lot of students doing the diploma instead of the certificate 4. For many years, it was accepted as relevant. But the department started saying that, the diploma in building and construction is more related to management than the technical, side of the, the profession, the trade occupation, which means that, ideally, if the person needs to complete more time of studies to qualify for the graduate visa, which is which requires 2 years of studies, then certificate 4 is the one to go.
Okay, Ju, another question. If the immigration changed the list, what's happened? Because now we have actually carpentry in the list. If it changes before, after my course, or during the time that I'm doing the course, what happened?
Yeah, if they don't do what they in some cases do, and what we call transitional arrangements, meaning those already studying will still be entitled to apply. If that's not the case, if they remove the occupation from the medium and long-term skilled occupation list, then the person will not be entitled to apply for a graduate visa. And that'll be the worst scenario that we can have. If the person is not entitled to apply for the graduate visa, the person will have problems, will most likely have problems to complete the job ready program, the 1 year of full-time work experience, meaning that the person will need more experience. And when I say more, is at least 3 years post-qualification experience to be able to obtain a positive skills assessment for a points-tested visa via a different pathway than the job ready program. So the TRA has a different type of assessment, but then they will ask 3 years of post-qualification experience. And so it will be harder. So definitely, I can't comment on changes because we never know what can happen. That's, again, it's not with us. They don't change the list very often, as people, all my clients, they keep saying, but they change all the time. They put occupations, they remove occupations, they put them back. Not like that. I don't agree with that. We had big changes in the past, but they don't change that all the time. Considering the massive investment that they will do in the construction industry within the next 4 to 5 years, I doubt they will remove carpenters from the list.
Yeah, I would say that. And the most, because of the COVID time right now, the industry is still like, so
it never stopped. Never stopped. No, my husband works in the construction, never stopped. Yeah, he stopped like a few days because someone was, tested positive. But 24 hours, and then he was back. Thanks God. So the construction didn't stop. Yeah.
Cool. Ju, can I ask you something? I would like to, because I have a lot of students, they don't know how to read the list. And sometimes they come with me and Gabby, how can I read the list? Because we don't have the course in the list. We have the position, the UNFCO code, So I just would like to know, because they have a lot of doubts. Okay, when I saw the position, how can I know if I need to do a higher education course or a vet course? If you can explain a little bit about the list, would be good.
Okay, look, it's not that easy, and I understand why. It's just the way that the department announces or publish the list. It's hard to search for the positions. You basically need to put the occupation and then going to show the visas that you may be entitled to apply for. It is a little bit confusing. I have my own ways, of searching for those lists because, of course, I have access to some portals, and it's not the same as you guys. But what I can say is, with the trade occupations, let's just talk about the trade occupations. With the trade occupations, that will be on the last pages of the medium long-term skilled occupation list. Yeah, the long-term list. That'll be on the last pages. Normally, the code, the occupation code starts with number 3, and if you know how to search for, or just put on Google, Trades Recognition Australia, in their website, they have a specific PDF with the specific qualification that the person needs to complete for those occupations. So that's the only authority which will give us the exact occupation. So what I can do, I can give you the link later, and you put on as a comment in in any thread or any in your feed or something. If you record the live, you can put the link there.
Very helpful. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have a lot of doubts about it. It would be
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Gabi,
Ju.
you know, we are just, I was just saying that they're gonna cut us. They're gonna cut us at 4:30. What
Thank
time
you
do we
so
start it?
much. I could talk with you more time, but yeah, we have to cut that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
No, thank you.
Good to
Thank you. It
talk
was
with
lovely.
you all
Yeah.
the time.
Thank
So
you.
thank
Thank you.
you. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. So if you have any doubts, so send to us and I can talk to you and try to help you.
Yeah.
Okay?
I can
Bye
record a
bye.
video,
Thank
answer
you.
the questions. Bye bye. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Bye.